Welcome to a very special Tea to Laughs podcast. Yay, we have Alpha here, one of our dearest friends.
Yes, our very first guest. So Alpha is our constant collaborator, our dear friend. Alpha and I actually met first because we worked on a short film together, my short film that she was an actress on. And then I met Marie, and then Marie brought her on for her web series, Hello Faye.
Yes.
So Alpha is a writer, producer, actress extraordinaire, and anything else that you want to intro.
I'm a mama now.
Yes.
I'm a 3-year-old tiny human mini me. Thank you guys for having me on the show. It's crazy times, this year. And I think I was just talking with your husband, Tyson, about how just every year with life, just as we get older and older, more Tita-like, that there's just a roller coaster of life with things that you have to deal with and you don't want to. And then...
Like what?
Yeah, so that's a perfect segue of why you're here today.
Yeah.
You're very well versed in anything and everything, but I think specifically today what we want to talk about.
Yeah, no, I was just wanting to talk. We work in an industry that where we have to have other jobs, and the reason why we have to have other jobs is to have healthcare, and that's something that I've been just like in the midst of, and so that comes to like the forefront of my mind as far as like what I want to just chat about, and I'm learning so much about the healthcare system that they don't teach you this in high school. They don't teach you this at all, and you have
premiums, copay.
Oh my gosh!
If you have healthcare,
that's if you
don't have healthcare.
Exactly, and I've run the gamut. Like I've been with the same company, and we've had like decent healthcare, and now it's a point where I talk to colleagues and none of them have our healthcare, and it's like, wait, what? Why? Am I the only one in the room? Like, what do I not know? And then I've also...
What do they say? Why do they not have it?
Because it's just the deductible is so high.
Yeah, and it's just cheaper for them.
And it's way cheaper.
If they don't get sick, you only pay for when you get sick.
If they have a partner, they'll go with their partner's health insurance.
Also, maybe they do have health care.
Yeah, so they do have health care. It's just that they don't choose like my company's health care. And I just, this was the first year that I worked full time, so I can get health care, because I came away from 2.5 years of Medi-Cal, which is like,
what was that like?
Yeah, I don't know much about Medi-Cal.
So you've never, neither of you have.
I've heard of it.
Tyson and I, when we first came to LA, we were on Medi-Cal, but because neither of us were working, so we didn't have an income. Right. But we had Kaiser. So if you
Medi-Cal.
Yeah, so if you had Kaiser prior for like a year, at least a year, you could have it on Medi-Cal.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. See, I didn't even know that. That's like new information every time. And it's so interesting that like talking to my dad, who is an anesthesiologist, he's a doctor, he doesn't even know like the ins and outs of his own.
And it's a different state as well.
It's in New York. Yeah, he's in New York.
Well.
It is. That's why he just didn't know. So yeah, I mentioned this to you guys before, and I was talking with you, Marie, and I'm going to be talking to you as we get closer to it. But my OBGYN said that I needed to get the LEEP procedure, LEEP.
And what is that?
It's you. She could probably explain it more because you went through it as well.
It's been a while, but from what I recall, if the doctor finds either precancerous or abnormal cells in the
pap smear.
Yeah, and the pap smear and the I'm trying to get anatomical
cervix.
Right now.
The
cervix area because you have a coloscopy.
Coloscopy. Yeah.
Several tests even before you get to that point to see. And once you get those news, it's that dreaded you're going to have a LEAP procedure.
Yeah, and I didn't even know. My doctor was like, I think your abnormal cells from human papillomavirus when you were like 19 years old has resurfaced, because before there's different levels of HPV dysplasia. There's like 1, 2, 3, and then cancer.
And there's different strands of
yes.
HPV that may or may not
Exactly.
turn into
right.
cervical cancer.
Right. And so when I had it before, when I was diagnosed 19 years old, it was before the vaccine that's out now, the current generations have access to. I had dysplasia 1, so it goes away on its own. But then I didn't realize that it can come back, kind of like cancer, where you can be in remission and then come back. But then she was like, oh yeah, I think it'll be like 2 and you don't have to worry about it. We'll see. If it is 3, then we're going to have to cross that bridge. Just the levels of dysplasia, like how abnormal it is and how close it is to cancer.
Or like even the cell count.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of what they're finding.
Exactly.
In the test. Because you can see it in like microscope of like
right.
a measurement.
Yeah. So you first have to get a colposcopy, which is like basically like a biopsy.
And this is after the pap smear.
Yes. So they see the abnormal cells. They take a biopsy through the colposcopy to kind of confirm what dysplasia level you are. And, she was trying to be really positive about it. And she's like, you're probably like 2 and we'll just, if it's 3, don't look up dysplasia 3. Of course I'm like,
right away, Google.
Exactly.
That's the worst thing you can say to a patient.
I know.
Look
it up.
So what was it?
And it's the LEAP, the LEEP.
Wait, what level was it though?
It was 3.
Probably
It was
moderate to severe. Probably.
Yeah, she was moderate to severe. She's like, you need it.
When was the last time you had your pap smear?
Before that?
Yeah, before that.
Probably right after Mila was born. So it was over a year.
3 years.
Over a year. No, it was over.
She's 3.
Oh, that's right. No, it was probably like a year after she was born.
Okay,
so it's like a year and a half, 2 years.
And that's well within standard.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what's crazy is I've never had an abnormal pap smear. So they're like, you can come back in 5 years. Yeah. I'm like, what?
I know.
You will see me every year.
I know.
How do you?
But especially if you you're married. If you have a constant, mutually monogamous sexual relationship, you're in the clear. Especially if you have no history.
Because
so cervical cancer is only
HPV.
And it's only transmitted from a man.
Yes. And men cannot test.
That's the only way you can get cervical cancer.
Yeah.
That's
women test be tested for it, and we're the ones that suffer. Men are the ones that transfer it. And so so I found that I was level 3 when it comes to dysplasia, and I looked it up, and the best description for an LEEP procedure is maybe P is per procedure, but it's like they basically take a layer of your cervix.
You want me to help you out there?
Yeah.
It's a laser.
It's a laser.
It's a laser surgery, so no knives, no nothing like that. But it's a laser where they essentially do cut the abnormal cells in the cervix. So you are awake the entire time of the procedure.
Yeah. Well, she said that I could go under or...
you have the choice. I didn't have the choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, she said, and there's like a $800 difference between going under versus like just being awake for it.
So do you want to go under?
I don't know. My dad, who's an anesthesiologist, is like, go under.
I didn't go under.
That's what I told him. He's like saying there's very few gynecologists that are strong in local anesthesia in that area. And he was saying that it's very far and few between that are actually good at the surgery and the anesthesia of it.
How well do you know your...
I don't. I just got this year. And the crazy thing about it, I was asking you about how much yours cost. And like, I didn't know that it could vary from person to person, like a t-shirt. Like, so mine cost $1,900, $1,200 to $1,900. Marie, you were saying like probably the hundreds.
Because I have Kaiser.
Yeah,
so
you have
I
Kaiser.
don't even know what my deductible
But does it depend on your insurance?
It doesn't depend on your insurance. But also the person too, in a way. Because then, my friend Chisui, who's in the medical field, it costs her $150.
Is that her insurance though? Or
it's her insurance, but that's the thing. I pay over $1,000, $1,200 for insurance, and I pay half of it.
You and Mila, though, right?
For Mila and I. And
so you
I
have
$600
out of pocket every month.
I have no. $600 out of pocket every month, and my deductible is $1,000, and then after that
Why is your premium so high?
Dude, this is the confusing part. I think
it's because her company doesn't pay a lot. They
as
pay
much.
Half.
Yeah.
But I feel like even out of pocket, even if you don't go through your company, it should be a lot cheaper because I'm not getting it through any company at all. I straight up pay completely separate as a self, employed or whatever it is, just no company
Do you have
attached.
PPO or HMO?
I have HMO. That's why.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is maybe I just chose wrong. I always thought PPO was the
Kaiser.
Benz.
We have Kaiser.
Okay, so the one time Tyson went. So when he was working at his previous job, he's like, I want to try Anthem or whatever. Something different.
Anthem,
and we've had Kaiser since we were born, literally. So I was like, I don't know. And he was like, let's just try it. And we did. And Tyson had this period where he was going through some things and he had to go to the emergency a couple of times.
Oh my
gosh. We got a bill from emergency. And I remember when he was like, Bug, we need to go to the emergency. And I was like, hey, I'm going to call your insurance and see what hospitals are in network. Because with Kaiser, as long as you go to Kaiser,
you're fine. You should be fine.
So I called them and I was like, what emergency room can we go to that we know is covered, that is in network? They told me the emergency room. So you did
your due diligence?
Yes. Before we left, I went there. Or I called them and I said, which hospital? They told me which hospital to go to that was in network. We went there. He saw the doctor. Of course, it's emergency, so it took 10 hours. And a few weeks later, we get a bill for thousands of dollars. And we called them.
It was
and
over
we were
3 or something,
what are you talking about?
We
were like, why is it so much money? And they were like, oh, you went to a hospital that was in network, but the emergency doctor you saw was out of network.
What?
I know. It's insane.
And
she asked questions.
I literally asked them. I was like, so we're supposed to go to emergency and say, who's the emergency doctor that's in network?
That's literally what I
and if there's no doctor that's in network,
then you have to walk away. Literally, I after you told me that story, when Mila needed to be brought to the emergency room, I did my due diligence and asked, is the doctor in network, for my health insurance? And they're like, we don't know. We don't know.
They're not even equipped to
They were like, we don't know. We just get the doctors in and you're going to have to research yourself. I was like, do you have the name of the doctor? Can I look them up? How am I going to actually figure that out?
It's so flawed.
Yeah. And then they were like, well, we can't do that. And I don't know. He's probably seeing patients right now. So I don't even, they didn't even know the name of the doctor.
They don't know the name who's on.
So I literally had to call my dad and then my brother and then my friend who's a nurse to go over her symptoms.
Who don't live anywhere near you.
They don't live anywhere near
across the country.
Yeah. And I did call my other employer's brother-in-law, who's a pediatrician as well. And they all had the same, kind of consensus of what she had. So I had to walk away. So
my dad was to get medical help from people in your family outside or friend network, but not the healthcare that you pay $600.
Correct.
Was that sufficient? Were you able to be treated and get a prescription and whatever you needed covered?
Yeah, she didn't need a prescription. She had fallen. This is when she, I was just moving right before going into Medi-Cal, but she had fallen, and I just want to make sure that her brain was okay because his first child, she had fallen off the bed. And she was crying and I just didn't know. And I looked it up and Googled it and they're like, oh, bring her to the emergency room or the doctor if she falls and hit right directly on her brain or head. And so I was just really scared. And so they just had me each do different things to just make sure she was okay. And then she was.
Yeah.
but I had to like walk away from
No, that's
the
insane.
hospital.
We ended up not having to pay a lot of it though because we fought it.
You fought it.
Oh,
Yeah,
I sent
great.
fought it.
I
Yeah.
sent a, I don't know, probably like 15,000 word email talking about we are switching as soon as we can.
Right.
And then
the entire process of like we called, they told us like how is this, and the woman that I spoke to, because I didn't before I emailed, I was like, when I first got the bill, she was like, that's just how it works. Like, no empathy at all. No trying to walk you through or, oh, let me check on this. And then once I sent that email where I just blasted them, then I got a caseworker who was like, oh, let me look into this for you. But we switched right back.
Could you imagine that some people don't know that you can fight it like that?
They don't.
Don't know that, like, oh yeah. Thankfully, you and Tyson know that, yes, this call is recorded.
I didn't know that, though. I just am
That's true. The
paper
report,
trail
right,
of everything.
exactly.
That's what paper trail everything, and you can fight it. Never pay it. Like, you can always do something.
Yeah.
But
But like, how many people are in medical debt?
Yeah.
Is
I know.
insane.
I can only imagine, like,
who have insurance.
The cost of a birth is insane. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And like I was still paying for medical insurance, and I still had to pay like $1,500 out of pocket for just popping a baby out. You know, this is why people like have births elsewhere. I don't know. But I mean, going back to the procedure, like I called my health insurance company and asked, is there this is like a semi-life-saving procedure. Like you'd think that they'd make it a reasonable amount, like cost. And they gave me some hospitals to call. And those hospitals, like a couple of them both recommended that I go back on emergency Medi-Cal. Like, what? Like, that's my option to like make it reasonable, is that I have to go back to like the horrible Medi-Cal that I had before. And that's why it's like been taking so long. And so it's very, very interesting. I'm going to be getting it done in the next couple of weeks. And, my dad was like, well, there's like, if you get it done in the next few weeks, like it's only 4 or 5% chance it'll turn to cancer. And then as it progresses, it can, if I wait a year, it can increase like 40% chance.
I don't even like
it out.
I don't even like 4 or 5%.
No, I know, but it's just, it's when there's places that are like, you have to pay in advance, like ahead of time. Like, how am I supposed to even schedule it?
So they straight up say you need to pay this bill.
That's what this is what this one doctor said. Like, I was like, is there like a layaway payment plan? And she's like, no, thinking you can put it on a credit card. And I was like, okay, cool. Like,
and you had to pay for it before the procedure? They don't bill you after?
That's what she's giving me a picture of, that I have to pay for it like the day of the procedure. So
odd.
I know. And that's the thing. Like, that's why I have all these questions, right? And
but
just like,
did you ask your dad that? Because that's something that he would know, right? Because is every doctor's office like that? Because I know at least for Kaiser, which is a different story. But is every practice
I don't know.
like that?
I don't know. I mean, when I gave birth, I had to pay it after the fact. I didn't pay
it seems like it would be a similar situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I was asking my dad, is there like a difference because she's like in Beverly Hills, as a gynecologist, as opposed to like, I don't know, elsewhere. She's my primary, but I just switched to PPO, where the difference between PPO and HMO is that you can choose who your doctor is if they're in network. But that going back to what you were saying, my dad was like telling me, call and just make sure that she is actually in network, because there's doctors that will take your insurance, but they're not necessarily in network.
What? They don't tell you that?
My dad told me that. I was like, what? Exactly. I was like, what? That's shady. That is so shady. It's so shady.
Come on, ethics, people. Ethics.
Yeah. Oh. So, but that's the the latest and greatest. And so I was looking at other options and, looking at our future union or SAG-AFTRA. I know you're part of SAG-AFTRA, and researching that you need to make a certain amount just to qualify for health insurance. And there's an astronomical percentage of us creatives living in Los Angeles and New York that do not qualify for that healthcare. It's like less than 10% actually qualify for that healthcare. And then I picture majority of us creatives that kind of make up the bulk work of everything that you see on television and movies. We don't have healthcare. We have to go through Medi-Cal or our partner's health insurance to just even have healthcare in this country.
Well, when I got laid off in December, thank God Tyson was still working because I got healthcare through him.
Right.
If I didn't,
exactly.
I still wouldn't have healthcare.
Right. Yeah.
Which is insane that healthcare is tied to employment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Double whammy. You lose your income and your health insurance.
Yeah.
But you can go on Cobra, which is 4 times as much.
It's so expensive. And then with Medi-Cal, it's free, but when we were on Medi-Cal, I could not get my daughter to be seen by her pediatrician. Half the time the office was closed. They wouldn't accept her if she was sick. They only saw well patients. What? So what is the point of that? Right?
How's that allowed?
They were go to the urgent care. I'm what? It was bananas. And yeah, she wasn't seen. And it was so hard to kind of switch because with HMO Medi-Cal, you have to switch doctors and you have to, see if this one's better. And she just had 2 in a row that were just not very responsive. Now, my medical health, my health insurance was fine for the things that I needed to get done, but I moved to full time just so I can get better health care for Mila. Now she's all vaccinated up and she has all her vaccines. I'm considering going back to Medi-Cal, but it's just crazy that you have to do kind of play this game of Tetris to figure out, how you can get procedures that you need done. So, yeah.
How are you feeling about this procedure that's coming up? You talked a lot about the ins and outs of the okay, yeah, we have to take care of the money aspect, but holistically,
I think
I'm a person.
I think I'm okay. I also just get just brief bouts of just irritation that we have to deal with this as women, and men don't have to at all.
But they spread it.
Exactly. And it's not very invasive. I can go back to work the next day, but they're really.
I mean, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. Okay.
I definitely still felt it
because you felt it was worse after, right? Your recovery was harder than the actual procedure.
Yeah. No, the procedure was definitely uncomfortable. I definitely teared during it. Not more so of pain or anything. It's just uncomfortable, but it was just more so frustration that I have to go, like you said, go through this. And also just shoulda, coulda, woulda. I would have not have made some certain decisions in my life leading up to that. And just going through it alone without a partner also was rough. But my parents were lovely. They happened to be there for a conference for work or something.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the day of, they brought some food, and my roommates at the time at La La Land, love you guys, the boys, they were very sweet, and they let me have the downstairs couch area, and just I made a little couch bed, and we had a big screen 60-inch TV there. So I was really out of commission because you definitely feel it.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
lasered.
Sure. I'm sure.
And gauze up there.
Is up there,
yeah. Gauze, because it's laser. It's surgery. They literally cut it out.
Who takes the gauze out?
it'll eventually
fall
come out.
Oh.
It'll fall out, but I think there's also follow-up afterwards to check that you're
make
healing.
sure all the gauze is out.
Yeah, but it's, you know, I think I did have medication, but it's more so pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Like in that Hella Bay, you were actually there with me.
Yes,
in that episode. It feels like my vagina is gonna fall out. Like you just feel that pressure weighing down. Yeah. So as for pain, that's the good thing. It's not painful per se. Yeah. But I mean, nobody likes getting a pap smear, right?
Yeah, and I did push out like a baby out of there. So.
I know, exactly.
Like, I think I'll be okay.
That's why I was saying you had a baby. That is the top of the list.
Yeah.
Of this entire woman experience.
That was wild.
So this is small piece.
Yeah, exactly.
How long was your labor?
I went in how many days were there in March? 31. I'm in the 31st, and everyone thought I was going to have an April Fool's baby because I came in March 31st, really, really early in the morning. Oh, no. Early in the morning. And then I labored through April 1st, and she popped out finally at 12:22 on the 2nd, like 22 minutes after. and the reason why she's a pandy baby, like she's a COVID baby, and that it was right at the time where they were shutting down everything within the hospital. So no in and out.
And you had to wear a mask.
I had to wear a effing mask.
Gosh.
The whole time.
How much
oh my gosh.
You have to do?
It was like a mess. It was soaked. Like it was a soaked mess. And it was so eerie that like just going downtown to drive there, like no one was there. Even in the hospital going around, like no one was in the hallway. It was very apocalyptic. And like Mila's dad couldn't go like in and out. Like he had to stay there and then just sleep on the couch. And it was very shocking. Like right when I was about to give birth, like 20 medical students came into my room.
Oh my God, it was a teaching hospital.
It was like, welcome to my vagina, folks. Like,
did you have to give consent for that?
I'm pretty sure I did. I don't remember because I was so medicated, and that's the reason why it took so long is I didn't realize that you can over medicate yourself with Pitocin. So I got to a point where
Pitocin or the epidural?
Is it Pitocin? What's in the epidural? The medicine.
Pitocin, I think, brings on your labor.
Oh, okay. No. You're right. So Pitocin brings on your labor, but whatever medicine that's in the epidural was, they had a button, and they would leave me alone with it.
I can't believe they told you.
They didn't tell me that you could give too much, and like to the point where I pushed my legs and I felt like I was touching rubber.
That's so scary.
Like imagine like touching your legs and not feeling it at all. So of course I couldn't feel my push, right? Because like I couldn't feel what the heck I was doing.
Oh my God.
And so
how did you know did you just like assume like?
No, the nurse was like, oh, you gave yourself too much. And I was like, now you tell me.
Thanks, girl.
They're like, we have it wear off. And so I ended up like taking a nap, and she was like in the midst of my birth canal. She was like in the middle of my birth canal. And I'm like, is she okay? They're like, yeah, she's breathing. She has oxygen. But when it wore off, then I could actually feel my push. And I just decided, I'm not going to like give myself more. I'm just going to go through it. And she popped right out. So like there's that balance where it's like if you're giving birth, don't give yourself too much. Feel your push. And
I didn't even know that
faster.
You control it.
They did for me. I don't know if it was COVID like related.
I think that's normal.
Yeah.
I think my sister had
okay. Yeah. But it was the funniest thing because like I was pushing so hard I had to take a nap. I was so exhausted. Oh. And then I woke up and it was worn off, and then she popped out like 20 minutes later.
Oh, good.
So, yeah. But that was...
And now she's 3.
Crazy. She's 3.5, which is crazy. And she's so good with her shots at her pediatrician. I really do like her pediatrician.
She's better than her tita.
I know. But like...
I told Marie... I'm sorry.
Oh, no, yeah.
I told her... I had to get my blood drawn.
Oh my
So
God.
I thought I had a UTI like a few weeks ago.
Okay.
And Marie was over here, so she was so sweet, and she went with me to the emergency or the urgent care, because I couldn't get a doctor's appointment until Monday. Sure. So we were there, and it turned out not to be a UTI. I still don't know what the hell it was.
You're healthy.
And it was healthy, but because I couldn't
Did you drink a lot of water?
No, they said because I changed my diet to being more protein, like that could have affected it. Because I just I cannot not
the bladder
pee,
maybe
at night. I kept having to get up. Like it was insane. Huh. So it wasn't a UTI, thank goodness. But the doctor was like, well, let's check your blood work. She's like, oh, you haven't had blood work since 2016. And I was like, I hate needles.
There's a reason why.
I told Tyson, and Tyson was like, bug, you need to get your blood work done this week. So I ended up going. And I told the guy, because I have so much anxiety about needles. I get that from my father, me and my brother, all three of us. We hate needles.
Yep, same.
Hate blood.
Same.
And so I went there and I told the guy, I was like, I hate needles. And he was like, okay. And it's going to be fine, blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like preparing myself, and he misses.
Oh my God. Why?
It's hard. I'm a phlebotomist.
I think, honestly, I think it's like a lot of Filipino women.
So
it's hard to find.
Well, then when he was like, oh, it's right there. I don't know how I missed it. And
you might have rolling veins.
I don't know.
You probably have rolling
But anyway, once he told me that, I have never experienced this. I started to faint. And I was like, I told him as calmly as I could, I'm kind of losing it. And he was like, can we get her some water and a cooling pad? And what else did he bring?
Sugar?
Like an ice pad or something. God. And it was so embarrassing, but I was literally losing it. And a vomit bag, because I was getting nauseated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my God.
Well, that's good. You at least weren't screaming at the person.
No, I felt bad.
Really
I felt bad. I was embarrassed. Yeah. No, I was like, and then I don't know what it's like to, and I know I was panicky, so who knows what my veins were like. And he was like, oh, is this? I was like, I can't look at veins either. Veins freak me out. I can't.
Like blood.
Yeah, anything. So I finally, after 5 minutes, he was able to do it, and he found it.
And you didn't look at the vials.
I don't look at it. I was like, is it going? And he's like, yeah, you're doing good. And I was like, I'm a child. I'm worse than a kid. Mila is better than me.
Any medical procedure, I feel like we would have to be there for support.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if it was just getting blood, I'm like, we're talking about this hardcore stuff. I was like, and giving birth.
I know, I'm giving birth, and I'm like, I want to get my blood drawn.
Honestly,
and I passed out.
You get your blood drawn every month when you're pregnant.
Stop!
So I'm just saying. I'm just warning you. You do.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We will be there.
Exactly.